Hey guys, Fourfinger here, and I really wanted to talk about spears in Path of Exile because ever since I played Diablo 2 back in the day and when I tried the Amazon for the first time, I really fell in love with how the Lightning Fury skill felt. You used to throw your javelin or spear, however you wanna call it, and once it hit the mob, it used to do forking the more mobs you stacked, the more it forked, and it had this amazing clear. And you also had some really good single target abilities such as Charge Strike that you would use for bossing, right? And I really loved it. So once I heard that we are gonna have spears in Path of Exile 2, I was like, this is 100% going to be my main weapon type. Now sadly, it wasn't released on the early access first patch, but hopefully it does come with the next big update slash new league, however you wanna call it. Now, a lot of the stuff we are going to talk about is still not confirmed, some of it is subject to change, but we do have some knowledge of the spears from the developers that already confirmed it. Now, one thing that we know for certain, it is going to come with hunches, and it's going to be 75% dex requirement and 25% strength requirement on the weapons, and you can check some of the bases that we have in PoE DB2. This is basically just giving us weapons up to level 65, so some of the strongest levels are still not added, and those, like I said, might change. They are intended to be one-handed weapons, but there are specific bases that you will be able to use it as a two-hander, such as this one. Now, me personally, I'm probably going to go for the crit again, because you will be spawning on the right, bottom right side of the tree, same like the ranger would, and you're really close to a lot of those crit nodes, and I think crit is really in a good spot right now, and I don't think they're gonna nerf it. That's why I'm probably gonna go with the crit base, and this is the only one we have right now. I imagine once they release the highest levels, you're just gonna have a better scaling level of the same one. If the two handers have like a lot more damage, then I assume not that many people will be playing shields, but we still have to check the abilities and everything like that. Now, what else do we know? We have 3 uniques in the database, those are just leveling uniques, nothing too special to see here, just casual stuff. When it comes to modifiers, it's the same like almost all the other melee weapons. It's gonna have strength and dex because those are the requirements, but everything else is almost the same like on the quarter staves, right? One thing that I kind of had in mind, because we will be using shields, and we still don't know what those ascendancies will be. I mean, not ascendancies, the skill tree nodes will be. They might be good, they might be bad, we have to wait and see. But I assume at least 2 of those will be decent. And because you're already pathing here, if you do use one-handed shield spears with a crit, you can also pick one of those like few block or evasion nodes that can be really interesting. Because my general idea was, if there are some spear abilities that scale really well with the projectile stuff, I'm going for the Ranger Queen of the Forest build, and the reason for that is the strongest evasion shield we have right now is the hybrid of armor and evasion, right? And it goes up to 635. I mean, this is the best one we have on the market, but if they do release all of the shield types in the next league, we might be seeing stuff like Expert Edged Buckler. Now, this is pure evasion shield base, and if you stack a lot of like int and then get that heroic tragedy timelet jewel which converts int into evasion, on top of everything we had before, we can also add a shield, right? And we can get those crazy amounts of movement speed. Now that's one interesting way to look at it, but if we do not have any decent projectile spear abilities, then I'm either gonna go hunches, depending how the good that Ascendancy is going to be, or maybe even monk, because I am going crit and ignoring elemental resistances for free does seem good. When it comes to shield choice, like I said, either a full evasion for the Queen of the Forest, or this is really interesting, because this is already in the game, you can even have it right now. If you get like this corrupted to like 33%, and then because like I said before, we will be pathing all the way to the spears, you can pick those 2 nodes, which is 10%, then you have 30% more from here, and you have 30 here, so basically you have 70% increased block chance, although you will be taking 20% of the damage from the blocks, which is totally fine, because you can pretty much bring the shield from 33% to something like 56, right? And this is going to be able to block all hits, and then if you also scale evasion, which you should on this side of the tree anyway, you can get acrobatics as well, and probably reach like 80%. So you can have 80% to evade all hits, and you can have around 56% to block them as well. As you can imagine, those 2 layers of defense on top of some evasion, because we're getting that a little bit on the tree from Subterfuge Mask and even stuff like Spectral Ward, depending on how you build, this can be amazing. Like I said, we'll have to wait and see how some stuff works out, but I already have some really good ideas regarding this. Now, That's pretty much it from the database when it comes to the bases and stuff like that. Let's go to the abilities. Now, I'm only going to talk about abilities that have been tested, because if it says DNT next to ability, it means did not test. It does not mean the ability is going to stay like this, because as you can see, it's already having like 3 copied rows, so they still have to be worked on. But I think general idea of them will stay. So we have Ice Spear here. This is going to be a spear that you throw, and after a certain period of time, it becomes armed and does more damage. And once it does hit the target, it's going to do a cone behind them, which could be really interesting, especially if they don't nerf the Herald too much. So this could be like a really cool clearing ability. Now you have Spear Field. Now I don't think this is gonna see too much play, and it mostly depends how spread the spears will be. If they're like really tightly spread, and it says it creates 1 spear per 0.1 meters. I'm not sure if this is going to be like you scale area of effect and you get more spears, or if there's something else that I'm not quite getting, but it says stab your ground, causing multiple spears to burst out of the ground in front of you in the large area. The spears remain for the duration or explode when enemies touch them. So if it's a really small area and you can use this on the bosses and maybe spawn 70 spears and, you know, scale it really high, you can get some really big damage. But I don't think that's the case. I think this is probably meant to be like one of those combo abilities. When something is chasing you, you pop this, and then you like jump back with the what's called the ability. Where is it? You have Impale, which pretty much, you know, you jump back, and then people will have to walk to your spear field and maybe get hit. But for now, I don't think this is going to be too great. We will have to see. Puncture, this is kind of a movement ability that could be maybe used with bleeding, but honestly, if you're using a one-hander with the highest possible level scaling being like only 1k multiplier, I don't think this is going to be too amazing, because most bleed and ignite builds just want really high either base multiplier or base flat damage, and this is just not enough if you ask me. Even though you would like get 200% more on top of it, I don't think it's gonna be enough. Again, we'll have to wait and see. Storm Spear. Now this is something I assume is going to be very similar to the Lightning Fury from the Amazon. What it does is it throws a spear that cannot split, pierce, fork, chain, or return, but projectile scaling will make more lightning bolts appear, and basically you hit the mob and then it's going to be similar, like I said, to Diablo 2 Lightning Fury, where it just spreads and clear the mobs behind it. I think this can be really cool, and this is probably the first ability I'm gonna try, just because of that good old nostalgia. Nostalgia, how you pronounce it. Yeah, really, really fun stuff. Blazing Lance. Now, this is one that's either going to be broken OP or it's just, you know, not fixed yet, because at the highest level possible, the tick from the initial, like, fire damage just seems too crazy, and I think this is probably, like, a mistake in the database. This will be probably fixed, so don't worry about those numbers. But the way this ability works is it's going to throw through 2 spears. First one is just going to hit with the base attack damage, right, multiplier, and it's also going to do a fire damage per second, and 50% of the fizz will be converted to fire. Then the second one is going to do a little bit more damage, and then I assume it's going to like spread the fires around, and if the fire hits something, it's going to do this fire trail damage. I'm not 100% sure, I just imagine that's going to be the case. I might be mistaken, but this could be either really bad or really good, depending how well you can use the fire trail. I'm not sure what to think about this one yet, but it does seem really interesting for now. Rapid Assault. Now this one does not have a full tooltip yet, and I didn't want to put it for first. I just think this is going to be a really fun ability, especially if you maybe can combine strike skills with the bell on the patch. Even if they nerf the bell, it might be interesting to proc it with the... if only strike skills work on the bell, which I think they will do, because as you already seen, Eye of Winter, Ball Lightning just proc it way too fast, and if they make it only for strike skills, this might be really interesting, because you're gonna be attacking really fast, and you're just gonna be going in and doing this. Okay, that looks wrong. Maybe from this angle... Nope, it still looks wrong. You get the idea, it's going to be fast-hitting ability. Whatever, let's get over that one. Impale. Now this one makes you jump back, and this is pretty much, you know, pin the enemies. It's like one of those escape abilities that we had on the bow, and the monk has frozen locks and stuff like that. I don't think this is anything crazy, unless they, like I said, they decide to slow the game back down and make you use combos, and then you can do like a lot of stuff, like you put down like the spear field, you jump back so people have to walk over it, and then you can use puncture to rush back in and make some bleeding stuff happen. We have to wait and see how they decide to develop the game further. That's mostly it. Now, Whirling Slash, this one is interesting. Basically what it says, performs a circular slash that kicks up a spinning storm of wind and dust around you, slowing enemies and blinding them in area of effect, leaving the area unleashed as a whirling storm, causing it to deal damage. So the way this works is you can use it and stay in the storm, and you can keep using it up to 3 stages, and then once you leave the storm, it does this damage. So pretty much you can get on the highest level, this might be interesting, you are getting the hit on the base, I think... yeah, this is the base hit. It can go up to the 828%, and you do this every time you use it, not once you go out. But this second damage type is going to be 600%, which then is going to be 3 stages in, which will do like 450% more damage if you have 3 of them, and it will proc every time you leave the storm. Seems interesting. Scaling wise, don't know what to say yet, but this is probably going to be, I don't know, cool with the shields. As you can see in the picture, it says use the shield, don't use two-handers. I don't know, might be better with two-handers because bigger scaling. We'll, again, have to wait and see. If you want to check some of those skill gems yourself in the database, you will find them under gems and then unknown gems. But like I said, a lot of them are subject to change, and if it has DNT, it also means it has no tooltip. There are a few more, maybe a few more that I missed, but feel free to go and check it out yourself. There are some support gems as well, and even raw amount. This is going to be interesting in how it works. If this does get into the game, I'm really excited for this one. But that's pretty much everything I know for the spears right now. Honestly, the best part about it was, you know, just minimaxing the... So let me just go back to the mobilistic, sorry. Minimaxing the tree, because I think you can build this in a lot of ways, especially once we learn how all the abilities work, because then it's gonna be like way easier for me to make those choices. But overall, this is probably going to be my original tree, something similar to this. Then, like I said, depending on those nodes and how we build around the shields, either for full block or full evasion, whatever we decide to do will be great. There are a few more block nodes that you could either get here if you want to. There's also block nodes here. Maybe you can even reach like cap on the block and cap on the evasion, and then get some energy shield on top and be one of the tankiest builds around. Don't know how to tell you how this will work out. So yeah, if you guys are excited about spears like I am, drop a like, comment, and hopefully we get some news about PoE 2 soon. Everybody is busy like talking about PoE 1 now, and I get it. PoE 1 is a great game, and right now it's a lot better than PoE 2, but I'm more like a PoE 2 kind of guy right now. I played a lot of PoE 1, I got bored of it after a while, and even though this new Persia League has a lot of new content regarding ascendancies and stuff, I think it's gonna be a same game I played every single time so far, just with few extra ascendancies. Don't get me wrong, I'm still gonna use the same abilities and same stuff, so I'm not that excited about that. I would much rather if they really focus on making PoE 2 great. But it's gonna take some time. Until then, enjoy PoE 1 or whatever you prefer, right? Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you tomorrow.